All right, guys, welcome to the last NBA slate before Thanksgiving. And we basically have every single team playing here. 13 games, definitely one of the bigger slates we're going to have for the regular season. But yeah, a lot to talk about. And this will be a Q&A live stream. A lot of news we are still waiting for, too. Pretty big news, too. LeBron, AD, status both up in the air. Anthony Davis didn't look right yesterday. He's still a bit under the weather. LeBron questionable. I expect him to play. Jaylen Brown's questionable. I think he's leaning more on the doubtful side. We have Garland questionable. I think he's leaning more on the probable side. OG questionable. I think he's leaning more doubtful. The 76ers guys, we're not sure of their status. Tobias, Seth Curry, and Danny Green. Karis LeVert is questionable. Devontae Graham is questionable. A lot of stuff here that is going to change this slate. And yeah, it should be a fun one, guys. I'm not super excited for 13 game slate. Like, I prefer smaller slates for sure. Like, I think I was talking about this on Patreon. I think like 6 to 10 games is probably like an optimal size slate for me. 13 games is a little bit much, but yeah, be ready, I guess, to be on your phone most of the night with some of the news. Right, Philadelphia is one of the late games that we're waiting on some pretty big news. So just be ready to make some changes, obviously. And yeah, guys, make sure if you do enjoy all the content to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're getting somewhat close to 11K subscribers. And hit the notification bell so you always know when I upload videos and do live streams. I will also be live tomorrow morning, breaking down Thursday. Thanksgiving special. Not the best 3-game slate, but it is a 3-game slate. We have $1 million up top there. So, yeah, guys, so let's do it. Leave some questions in the chat. As of right now, you have Brogdon, Dort, Giddey, Sabonis, Carter Jr., Anthony Edwards, Harrison Barnes, and Garza. Yeah, so like the Pistons, keep an eye on the starting lineup. Luka Garza was someone I did use for value last slate. It was looking really good, and then he got in massive foul trouble, and Faders got bailed out. A little bit tilted still about that. Not gonna lie, his ownership was lower than I thought. He probably would have gone for like mid-20s, maybe more, if he stays out of foul trouble. But like that's his issue, is he's a little bit prone to foul trouble, rookie. But if he can stay out of foul trouble when he starts, I think he's a viable play at the flat min price. You also got to factor in the chance that this game does not stay competitive, too. There's a few games that, you know, have some blowout risk, and obviously you got to factor that in. Now, there's a few players or a few teams that look really good, but also have that blowout risk, right? One of those teams, I think, is the Magic. They're probably going to be one of the more popular teams in the slate. It's only a 7-point spread, but, like, they're awful. They're a really bad team, especially without Cole Anthony, so that game you got to factor in has some blowout risk. As I mentioned, the Pistons, they are 15-point underdogs, so really good chance it doesn't stay close. The Jazz and the Thunder, 13.5. So you got to factor that in when you're picking these players. Like, for example, one way I think to leverage the chalk Magic guys is just go to RJ Hampton, who's picking up no ownership. And once again, first, if the game blows out, all those chalk Magic guys are failing. Plus, you get a low on Hampton, who's probably going to smash in garbage time. So it's like a win-win if you go that direction. So that's one way I think you can leverage that chalk Magic ownership. Hey, man, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Jake. Hope you have a great day tomorrow. Hey, thanks, man. The man DK, you're the man DK. Thank you. Only building one lineup. Let's see. So thinking Brogdon, Sabonis, VanVleet, Siakam, and searching for value is a good way to start. So, like, I think those are all 4 good plays in the mid-range. Like, the Lakers have been really bad on the defensive end. So Brogdon and Sabonis both look good. You know, I think game log watchers might avoid the Pacers, but I think that's a mistake, right? You've had back-to-back blowouts here. Blowout. He still put up 47 and 42 in that time. And then this game was the random game where, like, the starters got benched. So I think those two guys look good. And then Fred VanVleet and Siakam are both pretty safe options. I don't think OG Anunoby plays. Now, would I want, like, on a 13-game slate, it's probably a little suboptimal to play 2 players in the same game unless that game really shoots out. But, like, I'm fine playing both, like, Brogdon and Sabonis together. But would I play Brogdon, Sabonis, VanVleet, and Siakam all in one lineup? Maybe not. Herder, Mills, Joseph, Franz, or Gafford. Ooh. So, again, there's a few that have some blowout risk, right? Franz Wagner, blowout risk. Corey Joseph, blowout risk. I think your safest bet is probably Herder. The only downside with him is he is a little reliant on the scoring. But the minutes should be, low 30s. So Herder's probably your safest bet. Again, guys like Kojo, Franz Wagner become pretty solid if their teams can keep the game close. Thrive player props you recommend. Yeah, I like the over on Jonas Valanciunas. He's 14.5 rebounds and assists. Like, I think he could get over that in rebounds alone. So even though that's like you don't get as many points, I think that looks very, very safe. Now you got to factor in like the game theory, right, for Thrive of, do you want to take more riskier options so you get more points? But I think that's probably one of your safest bets is the over there, because I think you get it over on rebounds alone for the Magic. So it just depends, right? Because like I think the Magic guys are all too cheap if this game stays close. Like we're gonna see 30 to 35 minutes from Bamba and Carter Jr. We probably see around 30 from Suggs. We probably see 30 to 35 from Franz Wagner. So the minutes are going to be pretty high for these guys if the game can stay close. The risk comes in of what happened the Bucks back-to-back games where they got limited run and they got destroyed. So like I think all 5 of the starters look good, but mainly the bigs Suggs and Franz Wagner. Carl, what's up, man? Nurkic, Carter Jr., White, Laurie, or Hart. So, yeah, it's a good question. Obviously, there's a lot of options. I think Wendell Carter Jr. looks the best if the Magic can keep the game close. Now, if you don't want to deal with that, then maybe go like Lauri Markkanen, who I think plays. He was on a limit and still played 31 minutes last game, so I think he looks pretty safe. Curry or Young. So I'm guessing that's Curry versus Trae Young. I think it's easier to get to Trae Young in your lineup than it is Steph Curry. So I would prefer going to Trae. Matthew, what's up, man? Suggs over RJ. If you think the game stays close, yeah. Like we'll see unless the Magic change the starting lineup and like RJ starts, then that's a different story. But assuming Suggs starts, I think it is a lean to him because I think he plays more. I think RJ played 10 minutes in the first half. And then obviously he got extended because of the blowout. And that was kind of the same situation the previous game too. Like RJ wasn't on pace for big minutes. So I think the minutes upside is higher on Suggs if the game stays close, assuming he starts. Now, again, if the Magic do switch it up, if they start like RJ over Suggs, then it's basically the opposite. Then I like RJ more, unless you think the game blows out, and then it would be Suggs that you want to look to if the game blows out. Every team tries hard. Yeah, I mean, the Lakers are a good matchup, right? Like, they're not playing good defense. So you saw what the Knicks did in like the first quarter. I was looking at 40 points or something they put up. Crazy amount. I think the Sixers keep it close today. Depends on the status of those like 3 main guys, especially Tobias. So if Tobias is in, I think they have a better chance to keep the game close. If he's out, I'm not as confident. Van Fleet, Mitchell, Fox, CJ, Siakam, or Brogdon. I think it's Brogdon there. Warriors are the best defense in the league, and they're very deep. Yeah, they do have a good defense this year. Now, they have a good defense, but they play fast. So there is still a chance to put up, guys who put up decent scores against the Warriors because of the pace they play at. But yeah, they've been really, really good defensively. Tommy, what's up, man? Center for cash? It kind of depends. There's a lot of different options here for center for cash. So let's start at the top. I think the most expensive guy I would look to in cash, probably JV, just because last game he threw it out the window. He got massive foul trouble. This game was a blowout. He's on pace for a big game. I think he plays like mid-30s minutes if the game stays close. So he seems like a pretty safe play. I think Sabonis, you can play him at the center spot too. Ayton, Allen, because of the minutes. Like these are both guys that should play like 35 minutes. I think they look pretty solid. So you do have a decent amount of options you can consider. I think Pirtle, assuming there's no limitations, looks like a pretty safe play. So I don't know if there's one like standout center play in cash. LaMarcus Aldridge, viable for tournaments. He started the second half last game. I'm not sure that happens again. Blake Griffin's really been struggling with a shot, but Aldridge is a good point per minute guy, so I think he's certainly in play for tournaments. I'm not sure he plays 34 minutes again, though. Like there's a chance he goes back to like 23, like we saw 2 games ago. Thoughts on DeJounte Murray? Kind of the same analysis of Trae Young. I wouldn't touch him in a cash game setting, but for tournaments, I'm fine with that. Right? Both him and Trae probably play 35 minutes. They have the upside, but like this is also the floor. That was a competitive game. This was a competitive game here against Dallas, 25. So like the floor is very low on both Murray and Trae Young. The ceiling is there. Woods or Bamba? Woods or Bamba? Are you talking about Christian Wood? Or Mo Bamba? Well, here's another one where it's like, do you think the Rockets keep the game close? If you do, I think I would rather have Christian Wood. But the Rockets are so bad. They're so bad. Yeah, I feel you, Matthew. CJ McCollum, viable option. I think he might be a little bit over-owned because of last game. Right, last game was a little bit of an outlier for CJ. Went for 46. I think, most of the time, he shot 13 of 9. He shot really, really well. I think most of the time he's probably hovering around high 30s to low 40s in fantasy points, which is fine at this price, but might be a little bit over-owned because of his good game last game. Guys, we're about 100 viewers, 28 likes. Again, make sure if you're coming in to hit that like button. Really do appreciate all of you guys coming in and asking some questions, supporting the live stream. GBP, Corey Joseph, Van Fleet, Wagner, Sabonis, Pirtle, Giddey, Gay, and Lillard. I think you can probably do better than Rudy Gay for value. He's 3.3K. I just think there's value that I feel better about that could play more minutes. Because you might think Rudy Gay, maybe he'll play more in the blowout. I don't I think they would just empty the bench if the game doesn't stay close. So Rudy Gay is not really a guy that if the game blows out too, he'll get more run since he's a veteran. I mean, Steph is always a viable GBP play, except when I play him and he goes for 25 fantasy points, right? He at this price point, it doesn't really stand out, but that doesn't mean you can't play him. The ownership will be very low. He still has a 70-plus fantasy point ceiling. I think LeBron plays because he's been questionable every single game. I think AD status is more up in the air. He didn't look great. He said he had a fever earlier in the day, so I would say LeBron plays and AD is more 50-50. 3 Magic too much. If you think the game stays close, no. That the only risk I think you have there is the game blows out. Now, it's only a 7-point spread. So, Vegas doesn't seem too worried about the game not staying competitive. But, the Magic team without Cole Anthony is not good. I don't know if I have a favorite value under 4K. There's a lot of viable options. A lot. I'll say right now, Franz Wagner, under the assumption that they keep it close. He shot, I think, 0 of 9. Yeah, 0 of 9 last game. 6 fantasy points back-to-back games. That's not going to get it done. So he's played really bad. But before that, he was playing pretty well and getting 25 to 30 fantasy points. So at sub 4K, if the game stays close, I think he looks pretty solid. I feel like Jakob Poeltl's too cheap. Yeah, as long as you don't get popped. He played 31 minutes, so it looks like there's no more limitations than a guy like Poeltl. And this Atlanta front court's a bigger team, right? They have Capella, they have Collins, so they're gonna have a bigger center out there at all times, and they will play Gorgie Jang a few minutes too. So I think Poeltl is a pretty safe play that probably plays 30-ish minutes. Carter and Edwards or D'Lo and Poeltl. The Minnesota guys, I have a really hard time playing guys against Miami, especially on a 13-game slate, right? So, in all honesty, I probably would just avoid Minnesota. Can one of those big three get there against Miami? Yeah. I'm probably not going to go there, though. Temple at 3K if he starts. So, how many minutes did Temple play last game? He only played 14. Didn't he start that game, too? Yeah, it was a blowout. I just don't know if I trust the rotation right now for the Pelicans. Yeah, it was a blowout, but he still only played 14. That's not great. Hey, man, appreciate that. If AD is out and LBJ's in, what's your breakdown of the Lakers? Then I like the value centers for the Lakers because this Pacers team is a big team. And then I think you get 48 minutes combined from DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard, which would make them both really good values. And then LeBron and Westbrook would both look pretty solid too. Neither would be a must, but they would both look pretty good here if AD's out. Do you like Sengun? He's viable as a contrarian option. 4.3 is not a cheap price point. He'll be productive when he's on the court. Probably gets a couple extra minutes if the game doesn't stay competitive. So viable in our tournament setting, but as a cash game play, I probably don't go there. Gallinari, a solid play. His minutes can fluctuate. That's the only concern. But he's and the price isn't great. He's viable. He's gone for 25 plus 3 of the last 4 games. 28, 32, and 25 minutes in those games. So, like, I think his median outcome is like mid to high 20s minutes and probably around low 20s fantasy points. Favorite play for the Pacers? Probably Sabonis or Brogdon. You know, I think we get 35 plus for both if the game stays close. Thoughts on loading up on the Magic and hoping... Yeah, I think that's fine. You know, the Magic guys will be popular. That's the only downside for GPPs in a 13-game slate. But like I said, if the game stays close, I think they all play some pretty good minutes. Ooh, I guess it depends on the Pistons starting lineup there. Like if Trey Lyles starts, I think it would be Lyles. If Garza starts, then it's pretty close because he's prone to foul trouble. So yeah, that one's a tough one. How to get popped tonight? He says he wanted to get his guys rest. Did he actually say that, or are you trolling? I think that's probably there's no way he actually said that. Tatum, Corey Joseph, and Bane. But the thing is, like, I wouldn't be shocked because it's Popovich. Tatum, Kojo, Bane. So like Bane's not really someone I'm considering. I think it's kind of a chase, especially with Dillon Brooks now looking like he's going to be back. He's game time decision, but went through shoot around. Again, when a player goes through shoot around, more often than not they play. Like Luka went through shoot around last night, so I was expecting him to give it a go. So like I don't really want to play Bane, so I'll go the second one. Who was looking like a solid value? A lot of guys. It's 13 games late. A lot of guys. Balanced build today, I'm assuming. I think that's safe. You know, we'll see if more value opens up, but I think that's more the safe route. The Pacers value. We don't have LeVert news yet, right? He's still questionable. If he can't go, then I think Duarte's fine. Probably plays mid-20s minutes. McConnell at 4-6. We probably get mid-20s minutes from him as well. So those two, I think, would be in play if LeVert can't go. Suggs, Barnes, Carter, McCollum, Sabonis, Haliburton, Brogdon for cash. So Barnes, is that Harrison Barnes? Oops. Which Barnes is that? There's two Barnes. Poole, Favors. Thoughts on Poole, Favors, and Okoro? Kind of a random grouping. Poole, it feels like a chase too. I like Jordan Poole as a player. Price is up. Team's fully healthy. I'm going to stay away. Favors started at the 5 last game, but he only played 16, 17 minutes. This is a big front court. I think there's probably better value. And then who was the last one? Okoro. I think it's leaning like Garland plays, so Okoro at 4-7 it doesn't really stand out to me. He has a very, very low floor. Do you like James Johnson? I think James Johnson's in play. I think he what has he got? Like mid-20s minutes last few games? He actually is he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet and they're thin. 23, 26, 29 minutes the last 3 games. I think that's certainly viable. I don't think it stands out as a smash play, but yeah, I'm fine going to James Johnson. A couple of mini stacks. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. A couple of mini, you don't have to, but stack up a couple games and hope they shoot out. Orlando guys running back with LaMelo. That's fine with me. I think LaMelo would be the guy I would feel the best about on the Hornets. He's playing a lot more minutes. Earlier in the season, he was only playing 28 to 30, which was not great. Now he's playing almost 38 minutes a night. I think they're both underpriced. I think it's viable. Depends on what happens with the rest of the slate, to be honest. But I think you could play them both. Favors no go, unfortunately, if Unit starts. Yeah, I mean, there has been a couple games where Favors has played mid-20s minutes, and that was against the Lakers, against a big front court. He played more. 28 here. I think it was a game before that or so. He played 25. So it's possible, and this is a big front court against Utah. So I'm not going to rule it out, but I'm also not confident in giving him 25 minutes. I think more often than not, he probably plays 15 to 18 minutes. Not much, because Brogdon's still been pretty good with LeVert in. Used to love playing Favors a couple years ago when he started. Yeah, he was always solid. He didn't play a ton of minutes, but he had a high floor. I think Herter looks pretty good. I think there's some other options, obviously, but I think Herter looks like a pretty solid value. He's going to start and play 30 to 32 minutes. Holmes or Pirtle straight up? Yeah, it's a good question. I think the safer option is Pirtle. Holmes... He has upside, but he also has a relatively low floor too because of his foul issues. He's prone to foul trouble. And plus, it's going up against Portland, who could go small. So maybe his minutes won't be as secure. So I think Pirtle's a little safer than Holmes. Holmes is viable for tournaments. A little more risk, though. Yeah, Harrison Barnes and Cash. I think you could probably do better. It's not out of play because the amount of minutes he's going to play, and plus it's a decent matchup. But it's also Harrison Barnes. So, like, it's fine. It's not my favorite cash game play, but I think he's in play because of the minutes. Minutes plus matchup. Do you like Nurkic or LeVert if playing? Well, Nurkic is going to play. The issue I have with Nurkic is the minutes, right? Like, I love playing this guy. It just, the minutes have been like low 20s almost all season. 23, 24 against Denver. It's not great. Now, sure, the game was a blowout. He got pulled with a few minutes left. I think you can consider Nurkic for tournaments. If you're like confident Nurkic plays 28 minutes tonight, then yeah, you can go to him. I think Markkanen's solid. I think he plays 30 to 35 minutes in a competitive game. The Suns have actually been playing at a faster pace this year. Is Birch questionable? Did I miss that? Oh, he is. Huh. I must have missed that. So, yeah, if Birch and Achua are out, then we'll see what they do with the starting lineup. My guess is Boucher would start and then become a viable option. So I will just say, though, like, just if that does happen where both those bigs are out, get ready to tilt the Boucher minutes. Like, he could start and play 12 minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised. They hate giving this guy minutes. They really do everything possible to not play him. Yeah, I have a hard time getting to the Minnesota guys today, to be honest. Like, I get being contrarian, but like Miami's one of those teams, especially on a 13-game slate, where it's like I don't want to target people against them. Suggs is starting. Okay, that's kind of what I figured. So I'm guessing, and who the former Warrior, right? They probably have in there, Mulder. Yes. They're starting Gary Harris. So Gary Harris is in. Suggs, Gary Harris, Franz Wagner, Carter Jr., Bamba. Okay. So, yeah, if you're targeting the Magic guys, fingers crossed to keep it close. 4,900. Let's see. I think Suggs at 48. Okay to fade Giddey? Yeah. I think the way Giddey fails the blowout, it's not the best spot, too, so you don't have to play Josh Giddey. But I will say this. If they keep the game close and Giddey plays, like, 35 minutes, I think there's a pretty good chance he has a really good game because, like, he's going to be their offense. Fox seems so cheap. It'd be a lot. Yeah, Fox is weird. Like, I'm mad about the season he's having. I'm mad about a couple things. I'm mad about Fox's season so far, and I'm mad about the minutes for Yusuf Nurkic. Those things don't make me happy because I'm a big fan of De'Aaron Fox, and he has not been the same. Now, I think his floor is just way, way lower this year. So you can't trust it in a cash game setting. Gobert, I think this is Thunder front court, right? Against like Favors and Robinson Earl and Mike Muscala. Like, Gobert should be able to just clean the glass. So I think him and Mitchell look decent if you're confident the Thunder keep the game close. Can't stand Barnes. Yeah, he's the woat. Harrison Barnes, I'm guessing you're saying that. Why do you say NBA ownership only matters in tournaments? Because cash games, it doesn't. You just want to play the best plays disregarding ownership. So actually in cash games, like, you prefer to play higher owned guys because you want to play the optimal lineup. So it doesn't matter in cash games. And obviously it matters a ton in tournaments, right? You know, like, just for example, one player is projected for 50% ownership. He looks optimal, and he's $5,000. Another player is projected for 5% ownership. He is $5,200. Doesn't look as good, but has a similar range of outcomes, and it's just way less owned. So, like, that's just a situation where you could go to that lower owned guy, even though he looks a little bit suboptimal, because you're going to get way less ownership and you have an edge to the field there if he outperforms the chalk guy. Running back JV after the troll game, I'm still so mad about that. I had low-owned JV and Brogdon in the random blowout. Yeah, I think JV plays like 35 minutes. I think he's a good option today. Not a must, but a good option. Halliburton, a good play tonight. It's really hard for me to trust anyone on the Kings, but like that should be an up-tempo game. Halliburton's been playing big minutes. The production's been a little bit iffy. Like, he still has a floor, 20 fancy point floor. But, like, the thing is, like, he is stuffing the stat sheet a little bit. So, like, he's in play. I don't think he's someone that like really stands out to me. Like, he wouldn't be like, if I'm building like an optimal cash game lineup, there's just no way I'm playing Halliburton. But yeah, I think he's still viable. Malcolm Brogdon looks good. Up-tempo game. The Lakers have really been bad at the defensive end. 3,700 for utility. There's a decent amount of options. Kind of depends on some starting lineups. Let's see. Okay, so I'll say like Thibault, assuming those Philadelphia guys are out. I think he looks pretty solid. Now, again, you have to monitor that news. He played 33 minutes. So, like, if he starts again and plays 33 minutes, I think he's a good value. But you also got to wait for 76ers news. And if, like, all those guys are going to play, he doesn't look good. Is it a mistake to play Turner, Brogdon, and Sabonis together? I don't know if I play all... Like, okay, you could play all three together. If I'm doing that, though, then I'm just playing someone in the Lakers and just hoping that game goes into overtime. Yeah, the Pacers guys are underpriced, but I don't know if I want to play 3 in one lineup for a 13-game slate. So, like, you can do it. If I am doing that, though, I'm really hoping for a massive, like, a game to really shoot out. And then if I'm doing that, I want to play some of the Lakers side. Giddey for cash. I think he's in cash game viable. I think the way he fails is the blowout. So, it's tough because I think he looks really good. If the game blows out, that's where he's going to fail. Siakam will start the 5. Did we just get that news? Because that would boost Siakam's appeal a bit if they go small. Or are you just you're just speculating if those two bigs are out? Yeah, it would be possible if he starts at the 5. Whiteside, I think Whiteside's a viable contrarian value option. The minutes aren't going to be great on him, but like he'll play 15 to 18 minutes. He'll be productive, and he might get a little extra run if the game blows out. So I think Whiteside is viable to get different. Hey, we're at 50 likes. Appreciate that, guys. Thank you for spending your... what's this day called? The day before Thanksgiving? I forget what it's called. It's called something. But thank you for spending your night with me. And hopefully not tilting DFS. Or hopefully not tilting, but most likely will be tilting at the end of the night. Kings guards taken away from his upside. Yeah, so you have like Halliburton healed. Even Davion Mitchell. Vanderbilt on a hot run. He is, but now the price is up and he gets the heat. That's probably where I hop off. Portal should be super chalk tonight. You think? I think he looks decent. I don't know if he'll be super chalk. Fading Sabonis for Triple J and using salary elsewhere. It's risky. Get ready for a headache for Jaren Jackson. Now, the minutes have been ticking up on him, which is good. 34 minutes last game. All I'm going to say is, like, this is realistic if he gets in foul trouble. He can burn you. So Sabonis, I think, has a higher floor. Triple J, more boom or bust. You can do it. But again, get ready to tilt the foul trouble. Giddey fade. If you think the game blows out, fade Giddey. You don't even have to play him if you think the game stays close. It's a much tougher matchup, but yeah, I think he looks good as long as the game stays close. Pirtle, solid option. I've not looked at prize books at all. Sorry, man. Triple J is going to go off tonight. Likely Sabonis been going crazy lately, but I think Triple J is a more solid play. Yeah, if you want to play Triple J, go for it. I'm not like he does have upside. Half the games are going to... There's a lot of games that blow out risk. I agree. Jokic and yesterday to probably pivot. Luka and then Reggie Jackson. Reggie goes for 53 and I still don't cash thanks to THT and Barton. Yeah, I feel ya. That's the thing. Like, I will play... Barton was way lower owned than he should have been, but that was because we didn't get that news until after lock. So a little bit tilted about that because Barton was a really good play in tournaments. I knew the ownership would be down. Josh Hart viable? Yeah, I think he is. I think Pirtle, those three, of Hart, Laurie, Pirtle, all look pretty good to me. THT, yeah. Yeah, you also had a couple of big games when LeBron was out, too. I think I like the Van Fleet 8-1, for sure. Isn't it called, like, Blackout Wednesday or something, right? Like, because everyone goes to the bar? Isn't like, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Pre-Thanksgiving, Van Fleet or Aiden for sure. Jared Allen. Yeah, I like Jared Allen. Like, I was a little hesitant because I wasn't sure if he was going to be limited last game coming back from, a 3-game absence. But he played 37 minutes. So, like, that's the positive is he's going to play all the minutes he can handle here. And they don't really have any other bigs. Like, Kevin Love will play about 20 minutes. Yeah, I see what you're saying there with Desmond Bane, but I think Dylan Brooks comes back, and if that's the case, Bane's role is going to go down a lot. Don't shoot a ton of free throws. I wouldn't sweat the J. Yeah. Drew, I don't know if I can confidently go to anyone on the Bucks. Going up against the Pistons, like, I'm really not confident this game stays close. LeVert's playing? Okay. Yeah, I would rather go to Ayton over Ant-Man. I just like the matchup better. I like the matchup better for DeAndre Ayton than I do Ant-Man, right? Like, as I said, those Minnesota guys, if it's really your gut play to play one of these guys, then always go with your gut. I just have a hard time going to one of these guys against probably the worst matchup right now and against Miami in a 13-game slate. LeVert's playing? Okay. Giddy for cash? Yeah, I think he's viable. I'm not sure what the Pistons do. Yeah, that's a good question. They might go to Lyles. And if they go to Lyles, he probably is a little bit easier to get into since he's power forward eligible and you have a little more flexibility. Saw your top shot, top stack. Yeah. It was looking good in the preseason. NAW was looking great. He was looking like he's going to have a breakout year. And he's been not so good to start the year. He's had one big game there against OKC, went for 61. I still have faith in NAW, but not as much as I did when the preseason was going on. Like, this is where he has to take over, right? Without Zion, this is where he has to show that he should be a starter on this team, and he hasn't really done it. Lonzo, Brogdon, Chris Paul, Grayson Allen, and Suggs good together. Chris Paul will be pretty low under the back-to-back bust games. I think he's fine. Lonzo with Vucevic coming back, I just don't. It's a good spot against the Rockets, but I think they're all kind of priced up from when Vucevic is out. Jarrett Allen greater than 8, and then I think it's basically a toss-up, right? Because I think they're going to go up against each other, and I think you get maybe a couple extra minutes for Allen, but Ayton probably going to be a little more productive. I think we get 33 to 35 minutes from Ayton and probably 35 to 40 from Allen. So I think that one's basically a toss-up for me. Hart viable, Devontae in? Yeah, I think he's still fine. We'll see how they do the starting lineup. Herter cash viable? Yes, because of the minutes. LeVert minutes limit? Okay. So yeah, probably don't go to a guy like Karis LeVert then on a minutes limit. This Pacers team just can't catch a break with injuries. They're always, okay, this is big. Anthony Davis, unlikely to play. Unlikely to play Wednesday. LeBron will play. That's big. Back to Garza. If he starts again, he's viable. Zion for the top shot boost upon return or James Wise. I don't love either. I'm not a big, I think Zion's a solid player, but his injuries worry me with a player of his size. And James Wiseman, I'm not a big fan of either. Just for top shot stuff. Yeah, I don't think either any of those. I don't think I have any Zion or James Wisemans. Yeah, I think you could play one of Card Jr. Bamba together. Again, if they keep the game close, I expect 30 plus minutes from both those guys. All right, guys. Any other questions? LBJ or Westbrook? It's a good question. I don't know if I have a good answer for it. I would say LeBron probably is a little bit safer based on what we've seen so far this season. I just think LeBron has a little bit of a higher floor than Westbrook does. Westbrook has shown a really low floor. The ceiling is still there. We saw it last night, but he has shown in a competitive game he can go for 25 fancy points. So it's really close now. I think LeBron's a little bit safer. Westbrook's juicy. Westbrook looks pretty good now. They both look pretty good. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for Westbrook versus LeBron. I would say LeBron is a little bit safer than Westbrook, but I think both have similar upside. I just think LeBron has a little bit of a higher floor. I think the Lakers-Pacers, yeah, I think it looks like a good game. But I think I'm going to call it on that, guys. So really appreciate you guys coming to check out the live stream. Good luck in the 13-game slate. As always, be on your phone tonight. This is a slate where you got to be ready to make some changes. I wish you all the best of luck. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Again, if you're playing football tomorrow, wake up, check out my live stream. I'll be doing another Q&A live stream. So I hope you guys have a great night, great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you guys back here in the next one.